In 1977, while NASA was launching Voyager and sending humanity's message into the stars, something unusual appeared in our own sky. It lasted 72 seconds. It came through as a radio signal so narrow, so strong, and so close to the one frequency scientists had long believed any intelligent civilization would eventually recognize, that when astronomer Jerry Eman saw it on the printout, he circled it and wrote one word in the margin: wow. It never appeared again. Nearly 50 years later, we still do not know what made it. That is what keeps this story alive. The signal matched, almost too well, the pattern scientists had already imagined for an intelligent transmission. So the real question is not whether something remarkable happened. It did. The question is what kind of event it was. And before we go further, subscribe to Endless Astra for more real space mysteries told through research, facts, and the human search for meaning in the universe. To understand the WOW signal, you first have to understand the machine that found it. Big Ear at Ohio State University did not look like the giant bowl-shaped radio telescopes most people imagine. It was flat, spread across a huge reflective aluminum surface, built to gather radio waves and direct them toward a receiver. Its job was simple in principle and extraordinary in practice. Listen for anything in the sky that did not behave like nature. SETI was not listening for noise because the universe is already full of noise. Stars radiate, gas clouds emit, pulsars pulse. The afterglow of the Big Bang fills space with a faint background hum. What SETI wanted was something different, something organized, something focused, something narrow enough, clean enough, and deliberate enough to stand apart from the ordinary behavior of the cosmos. Big Ear had been running that search for years without finding anything extraordinary. Then, on August 15, 1977, it recorded something it had never seen before. Jerry Eman did not catch it live. He found it later while reviewing long sheets of computer printout. One sequence stood out from everything around it: 6EQUJ5. He circled it in red pen and wrote, wow. That sequence was not a coded message. It was Big Ear's shorthand for signal strength. A blank meant nothing above the background threshold. Numbers meant the signal was 1 to 9 times stronger than the background. After that, the system switched to letters. A meant 10, B meant 11, and so on. So when Eman saw 6EQUJ5, he was looking at a signal that rose, peaked, and fell in a smooth, orderly curve. 6, then E, then Q, then U, the strongest point, 30 times above the background. Then it dropped again through J, and finally 5. That pattern mattered because it looked exactly like what you would expect from a real source in the sky, moving through the telescope's field of view as Earth rotated. It behaved like something entering view, reaching maximum intensity, and then fading away. It did not behave like a random machine glitch. And it lasted 72 seconds, which was exactly the kind of time span Big Ear would expect if a fixed point in the sky drifted through its observing window. The timing fit the telescope, the shape fit the telescope, and then there was the frequency. The signal came in at 1420.456 megahertz, almost exactly the hydrogen line. That matters because neutral hydrogen, the most common element in the universe, naturally emits radiation at that frequency. Any civilization advanced enough to study the cosmos with radio astronomy would know it. For years, scientists had argued that if anyone ever wanted to send a signal meant to be recognized across interstellar space, the hydrogen line would be one of the smartest possible choices. It is universal. It does not depend on language, culture, or biology. It comes straight from the physics of the universe. And the WOW signal arrived almost exactly there.
That is why it was never treated as just a weird burst on an old printout. It had the features scientists were already watching for. It was narrowband, which is unusual. Natural sources usually spread across a broader range of frequencies. Earth-based interference is often broader too, and usually messier. But this signal was tight, concentrated, and apparently came from the direction of Sagittarius, far beyond our solar system. Put all of that together, and you begin to understand why the signal stayed in scientific memory. It did not answer the question of life beyond Earth. It sharpened the question. Then came the part that made the mystery deeper. It never came back. Eman and others pointed Big Ear toward the same region again and again. Nothing. Other observatories joined the effort. The Very Large Array, Arecibo, observatories in Europe and Australia. They searched the same coordinates for months, then years. Nothing. In the late 1980s, more sensitive follow-up searches were carried out. Still nothing. And that silence matters. If the signal had been ordinary interference from Earth, you would expect something like it to show up again. If it had been a natural astronomical source, you would expect some kind of pattern or repetition. But there was only one burst, lasting 72 seconds, and then silence. That silence does not prove intelligence, but it leaves the mystery standing. If the signal came from some form of transmission, maybe it was brief by design. Maybe it was a targeted burst. Maybe it was a beam that crossed our path once and never did again. Or maybe whatever produced it has not repeated in a way we can detect. Silence in this case is not the absence of the story. It is part of the story. Over the years, astronomers proposed explanations. One of the most discussed was the comet hypothesis. In 2016, Antonio Paris suggested the signal may have come from a hydrogen cloud surrounding a comet that happened to be in that region of the sky in 1977. It was an appealing idea because it kept the explanation natural, but many astronomers were not convinced. Big Ear used two receivers, and the signal appeared in one, but not the other. A diffuse cometary hydrogen cloud should have behaved differently as it crossed the telescope's observing pattern. There was also the question of narrowband structure. A broad gas cloud is not an easy way to produce a signal this focused. For those reasons, many SETI researchers, including Eamon, did not accept the comet explanation. Another possible lead appeared in 2020 when Alberto Caballero used Gaia data to search for sun-like stars near the coordinates of the WOW signal. He found one interesting candidate about 1,800 light-years away, in Sagittarius. That is not proof. It does not tell us the source, but it does give the mystery a direction. And in astronomy, a direction can matter. It gives future observers somewhere real to look. In 2012, on the 35th anniversary of the signal, scientists and artists sent a reply. Using Arecibo, they broadcast a message toward the WOW signal coordinates. If the source were truly 1,800 light-years away, that message would arrive in the year 3,812. If anything there answered immediately, at the speed of light, we would not receive that response until 5,624. That means this mystery does not live on a human timescale. It lives on a cosmic one. And maybe that is why the WOW signal still matters so much. It sits exactly where science becomes philosophy. It matched the frequency any radio-capable civilization would know. It had the narrowband structure expected from a directed signal. It had the intensity of something significant. Then, it vanished. In the same year, humanity launched Voyager, with a golden record asking whether anyone out there was listening. Big Ear picked up 72 seconds of something that seemed to ask the question right back. We still do not know what made it. That is the honest answer. But some mysteries stay with us because they refuse to collapse into something ordinary. The WOW signal remains one of them. Drop us a comment, because if you had to choose right now, what do you think the WOW signal was? A rare natural event, interference we still do not understand, or something else?